Well, with this week's jobs and inflation data in, we're now looking at a 100% chance of a minimum 25 basis rate cut next week. And the odds of additional cuts of 25 basis points or greater now stand at 86% for October and 81% for December. You can literally hear that central bank money printer firing up. Well, with all this liquidity coming, many of you want to front run the inevitable spike in prices for assets like stocks, gold, and Bitcoin. And to help you choose the best ultra high yield income ETFs, I bring you this update to my blended power rankings. And this is the strongest group ever, with all of the top 10 producing total returns over 60% average annualized, and the top 3 are all over 100%. If you like earning passive income while you sleep, then hit that like button, lock in, and let's get started. Well, if you missed it, watch my video where I introduce the BitBagger Income ETF Blended Power Rankings and explain why they're needed and how they're calculated. But very briefly, these rankings strike a balance between recent performance and reliable track record while filtering out distractions of NAV erosion, distribution rate, and payment frequency. Each ETF is ranked by their blended average annualized performance, looking back 6 months, considering total returns with distributions reinvested. The 25 funds in our rankings have been curated from the best offerings of YieldMax, Roundhill, Defiance, and Neos fund families. They generate income through sophisticated trading strategies, selling covered calls, and using leverage in some cases. Check out my earlier video where I introduced these amazing ETFs that have exploded in popularity in recent years. But enough talk, let's introduce this week's rankings. These rankings include total returns, including change in share price plus distributions paid through September 5th. Well, at the number 1 spot and making its debut to our rankings is Roundhill's TSLW based on underlying Tesla stock. This one has the best blended average performance with 125% annualized, which means you would recoup your cost basis after just 10 months. Now, TSLW is one of 4 Roundhill WeeklyPay ETFs in our rankings, along with number 2 PLTW based on Palantir with a 109% blended average, number 4 COIW based on Coinbase and a 78% blended average, and then number 5 NVDW based on NVIDIA and a 75% blended average. Now, these Roundhill weekly pairs use leverage for a slightly different strategy than YieldMax. Watch my video where I do a deep dive comparison between the Roundhill and the YieldMax ETFs. Now, notice that TSLW has a last distribution rate of 220%, which is far above any other annualized performance in our rankings. This is based on a perfect storm of factors like recent high performance of Tesla, high implied volatility of Tesla, and a drop in Tesla stock last week that meant a covered call strategy could keep their options premium without surrendering the shares. The underlying Tesla has been on fire lately, up 25% in 6 months and 53% in 12 months. Its PE ratio, which reflects investor hype over the stock, is currently quite high at 206, which is 8 times the S&P 500 average of 26. Now notice the top 5 performers in our rankings are based on Tesla, Palantir, Coinbase, and NVIDIA. So it's not surprising if you look at August performance of these underlying stocks, Tesla was far and away the leader, up 10.3%, then Palantir up 1.6%, NVIDIA up 0.3%, and then Coinbase down 3%. You can never predict the market forces that will play out for any one underlying stock, which is why you want to diversify across a few good ones. To help you choose among the income ETFs, I've included the PE ratio of the underlying stock. Remember, the S&P 500 average stock has a PE of 26, so you can get a sense for potential overvaluation of the underlying by comparing their PE. Now, I want to give honorable mention to number 17 Bitcoin, which is not an ETF and does not generate income, but it is the most advanced form of sound money and apex savings technology. Even with no dividends, its growth over the past 3 and 6 months earned a blended average performance of 40% annualized. As you receive those tasty distributions from income ETFs, don't forget to secure and grow your wealth with Bitcoin. You can learn more with my series, Why You Can't Afford to Ignore Bitcoin. Now, to wrap up, I'll highlight some special groupings so you can pause and take a screenshot if you like. Here are the weekly pairs for those too impatient to wait a month between paydays. And here are the ETFs with diversified underlying if you want to avoid single stock risk. And new this week, here are some ETFs with the least volatility across their last distribution, 3-month and 6-month annualized performances. These are consistent performers across all timeframes without the wild fluctuations we see in some of the others. Well, to wrap up, I want to draw your attention to the wealth generation flywheel that I recently debuted. This shows how a Bitcoin bull like myself can capitalize off these ultra high yield income ETFs while growing my Bitcoin stack. Check it out for some ideas on how to set up your own flywheel. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's updated power rankings. Be sure to do your own research to find the best funds appropriate for your portfolio and investment goals. And if you have any favorite ETFs that didn't appear in our rankings, be sure to shoot them in the comments below and I'll check them out. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like the video and share it out to those you love. And until next time, be wise, be safe, and stack sats.